Who doesn't love a good rack of barbecue ribs? And also, who doesn't love delicious char siu? I'm gonna show you how to combine the two today. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, and as usual, all the ingredients will be linked in the description box down below. I'm gonna start with a full rack of spare ribs. I'm gonna trim it myself. Not only is it gonna give me delicious trim for sausages and whatnot, but it's also gonna save me a couple bucks. Then I'm gonna trim this top bone off right here. I'm gonna use this for stock in the future. You want your rack of ribs to be nice and squared off so it cooks evenly. And then with this bottom membrane, some people peel it off, some people don't. It's up to you. Do a little final trimming, and then we are left with some beautiful ribs. For my char siu sauce, I have hoisin sauce. I was down to the end of it. That's why you see some water, because you got to put water in there and shake it out to use it all. Oyster sauce, Shaoxing wine, light soy sauce. This ingredient right here, fermented tofu, is highly recommended but optional. I have some honey and some sesame oil. I like some 5 spice in my char siu, and then instead of using brown sugar or white sugar, I'm using panela. Panela has a lot more subtle and complex flavors compared to white sugar and brown sugar. This also has a really nice, rich caramel note to it, which makes my char siu recipe stand out from all traditional Chinese char siu recipes. But don't get me started on tradition. I never said this was traditional. Now get a nice fat thumb-sized piece of ginger using a spoon to peel the skin off. That way you don't lose a lot of meat. With this recipe, you only want to use 2 cloves of garlic. It's a rare instance where not always is more garlic better. Put everything in the blender and just let it go until everything is pulverized. Give us a taste, and now for the traditional super bright red color, I like to add about 2 drops of food gel opposed to food coloring. Food gel will give you a more intense color with less product. I'm going to marinate my ribs overnight, but no more than 24 hours. Pour a little bit of the char siu marinade on the bottom side and give us a nice rub. You want all the intricate flavors of this marinade to permeate through the meat. Now do the same process on the other side, but don't go crazy. You just want enough marinade to generously cover the meat without being soupy. If you have a big plastic bag or a container you want to use to marinate this overnight, go for it. I'm just going to use plastic. Now, if you're going to use plastic wrap like me, just wrap it to the point where it won't be leaking out. Now, into the fridge overnight. Now, this is the next day. It smells incredible. Now, I'm going to let this come up to room temp while I get my Weber kettle ready. Now, as standard procedure, I have my slow and sear with a bunch of lump charcoal. I'm going to get it started with some briquettes. This setup in my Weber kettle gives me about 5 to 6 hours of 250-degree Fahrenheit heat, which is perfect for smoking ribs. Now, whatever technique that you're comfortable with smoking a rack of ribs, go ahead and do that. This is how I'm going to do this rack. Gently lay it on the grill. Make sure that it's not stretched out too far, but it's not compressed all the way in. You want it to lay nice and even. Oh, and I almost forgot. Got to fill up the water. Now, if you don't have this contraption, you can always put a little tin underneath your ribs, fill it with water. It's the same thing. Now, after the first hour, I'm gonna spritz this with a little bit of apple cider vinegar and water and hot sauce mix. It's just because I've never done it with the char siu mix on it, so I wanna make sure that it doesn't burn. Now, after the second hour, I'm gonna start basting it with the char siu marinade. Just make sure you get all the sides. If you want to get the bottom, do that too. Now this is after the 3rd hour. I'm gonna keep reapplying, make sure I get all the sides. Now I will be wrapping it after the 3rd hour, going into the 4th hour. And once it's wrapped, I want to bring the internal temperature of the ribs up to at least 200 degrees. So I have enough charcoal for it to happen. Need about 7 more degrees. And then we're gonna bring it inside and let it rest and come down in temperature. These ribs, after 4 hours, have been resting on my counter for about 30 minutes. The internal temp is about 150 or 140 or so. These ribs smell awesome. You catch the 5 spice, you catch the smoke. Let's cut into it and see how we did. Cuts like butter. All right, beautiful little smoke ring, nice and juicy. Oh man, these ribs look awesome. Okay, I have to cut another piece because, man, look at, ooh, that is one gorgeous rib. I am so hungry. We got to eat this. All right, guys, so you guys saw me cut through that piece. Look at this rib. Oh, nice, fat. It even has a nice little smoke ring on there, even though we only used one little chunk of wood. I didn't want to infuse too much smoke flavor because I didn't want to mask all the delicate flavors of Char Siu. But let's give this a bite. Wow. Wow. Mmm. This is pretty incredible. Oh, man. You definitely taste the sweetness from the hoisin and the panela, that sugar. You get a tiny trace of sesame oil. I think most of it went away because of the smoke. But this tastes like exactly like how you would think if American BBQ and Char Siu had a baby. Nice and tender, but it still has a nice chew to it. So it's not like fall off the bone where it just disappears and just dissipates in your mouth because it's overcooked. This is amazing. You guys definitely need to try this recipe. I can't stop eating it. I'm gonna brush some Char Siu sauce on here. Oh yeah. It's pretty awesome. Excuse me while I go full barbarian on this. Wow. Clean bone. This would be perfect for, you know, banh mi's. You can have this little Char Siu, put it in a sandwich roll and make a banh mi or a sandwich out of it. Eat this with noodles, wonton rice noodles, all that good stuff. Oh man, you guys definitely need to try this recipe. Hold on. You guys definitely need to try this recipe. All right, guys. All in all, I think this recipe is a huge success. I'm definitely going to be doing this more often. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and as always, peace.